Good morning. Long time no see. Today is September 28th, and it's time for a monthly garden update. The fig tree has grown tremendously. It produces a hearty handful every day. Not enough to can or process, but enough to eat a few. A pair of mockingbirds decided to join us. The loofah continues to grow and bloom. I'm going to have plenty of loofah gourds. My cinnamon basil grew so big that it flopped over, and I really want to pull it out because it's not beautiful anymore. But the bees love it and still continue to come to it every day. The turmeric is starting to fade and die back. There's one on the other side of the fence as well. And I'm going to remove this one. I've decided to dig it up, and I'll use some and replant the others in my herb bed. You can see how similar it looks to ginger root. You can see the thyme growing down below, the bell pepper, which is still producing, and below it I have sown winter radish. I grew that for the first time last year and it did very well, so I'm trying it again this year. The Martin peas that I sowed about 6 weeks ago are doing very well. At the end of the row is a avocado that sprouted from the compost. I'll dig that up and put it in a pot and bring it indoors. Just got a scoop of compost from the bin. Just stick it down in there. And that'll do for now. I'll pot it up in a bigger pot next season. I transplanted broccoli into this empty row. I haven't had the need to pull the marigolds out yet. Probably do that next month. Right now I'm just letting the butterflies enjoy them. There's a little gray fence lizard. There he goes. Over here, where I've sown more winter radish next to my patty pan squash that I transplanted about 2 months ago. Some little babies. I'm pulling out the last of some of the older basil. I'll take it in and dehydrate it. So here's the second row of Martin peas, looking very well. They were sown about 6 weeks ago. Along this row is a double row of mesclun lettuce and collard greens. A hurricane came right after I sowed these and washed lots of my little tiny mesclun seeds away. The collards did fine, and then I came behind there and set out a few kales, and I've got a few more baby kales left that I'm going to put in the row here. I pulled all the pole green beans down, and in the place I've sown a few Alaska peas. Now, Georgia does not recommend that you plant sweet peas in the fall, but I had some old seed and I thought I'd give it a try. This row of Martin peas that I planted underneath the peppers is growing, but not as well as the others. And my sweet potatoes didn't bloom this year. I tried to dig some a few weeks ago and they were very small, so they have another month left. I'm hoping that they still may have time to make. But this area is shaded. I believe it gets 6 hours of sun, but maybe just barely. The peppers are still producing bountifully. I'm going to attribute that to the shrimp meal that I fertilized them with earlier in the season. The bells and the jalapenos just continue to produce a bumper crop. This is the row that about 2 months ago I sowed in beets and parsnips. Only a handful of the parsnips germinated. It was just too hot and I used all my seeds, but I do have a few. So I came behind a few weeks ago and sowed carrots. Beets here, the first sowing it was too hot, so I sowed again. A few weeks ago I sowed beets on recommendation that I saw on a YouTube video in flats, so I'm going to take these and transplant them into the empty spots of the beet row. All the cowpeas that were growing along the fence have been removed. You can now see the muscadine. I gave it a good trim. And I sowed Alaska peas in place where the cowpeas were. And then I transplanted some broccoli over here also. And now that the cowpeas are gone, you can see my Martin onions continue to grow. Though our girls come out here and harvest a little more often than they should, so we're going to have to leave them be for the rest of the season so that they can grow on and multiply. And here where the cucumbers were is also another row of winter radish. I cleared around the asparagus row, so it is getting ready to go dormant for the winter time. This basil I'm leaving and allowing it to go to seed. So as these stalks turn brown, I come out and clip them off and put them in a paper bag. So I've already been able to save basil seed for next year. On the back porch here, I have a tray of head lettuce, half of which did not germinate. I think that was older seeds. Onions. Those will overwinter in the garage under lights till next spring. There's the beets. You see I still have lots to transplant in the garden later on in the week. And little baby cabbages, which are coming along nicely. And this is the tray that I started in leeks a while back. The leeks never germinated. I assumed that they just rotted in the compost, but I planted onion seed on top. And those will go in the garage over winter. Here's the cucumbers that were planted almost 2 months ago, maybe 12 weeks. And they're doing very well. They are very healthy here on the back porch. I suppose that's because they're in no danger from nematodes here. I'm looking for a baby cucumber. There's teeny tiny baby cucumber. So hopefully we'll have some soon. We've had zebra longtails hanging around for a few days. They are so hard to catch. And I'll end with my usual panorama. All right, that's all in a day's work. I didn't work hard, but it's still hot and humid here. And I haven't been feeling well. Not sure if you can pick that up from the video, but even when you're sick, the work still needs to be done. And yes, I've been resting, but a short sickness can set you back and you can miss the time window for planting certain things. And I hate to work so hard all year and then miss out on that. So as long as I'm able to walk and talk and move about, then I will continue to work, rest when I can, and give thanks to God for all things. Thank you for watching. See you next month.